Hello, this is Antigone, your high-level ninja, letting you know how to work with Confluence to get everything all set up and submitting your requests and everything else like that so that we can get things worked on for you. So in order to make a new request, which is it, a new pipeline or a new website or funnel, a new funnel or website template or a new form, quiz, or survey. So let's say it's a new pipeline. This is what the form is going to look like. So now you see this big green and purple box at the beginning. That big green and purple box, whatever's in green, you folks fill out, and whatever's in purple, I fill out. Why do we do it that way? Well, each one of these fields, they're called properties. Each one of these properties can show up in what's on here as our properties report. So when we fill out, let's say, a new website or funnel request, then it will track who's requesting it, which is it a funnel or a website, what will it be called, what's the template to use, is it ready for high-level ninja to do the work? If so, put a date in here. Until there's a date in here, I'm assuming that somebody is filling out the information on the page, and there's really not much reason for me to look at it until you specifically ask me to do so, or the date is in here. Then I can put in the date that I start working on it, when I sent the draft to you, then you say when you sent changes to me, then I say when I sent the updates back to you, then you say when it's signed off and who actually signed off. Then there's this change request button. All right, so let's look at what this means. We're going to look at pipeline for now, just because it's a little easier. So when you're looking at this, you're going to have to give it a title, and every page title has to be unique. So normally what I recommend is something like, what's the date today? The 14th, and then pipeline, whatever it is. That way we know that they're going to be unique names. And unfortunately, it has to be unique across the entire Confluence site that I have, and you don't know who else I have on here and what their pages are named. So making it something like this should keep it unique. Requester. So now when you go down here, just hit delete, and that gets rid of what's called the placeholder text. And what will it be called? And is it ready for me to begin? Let's say it is ready for me to begin. How do we do that? Hit the slash twice and select date, and you can bring up the dialog box, and that puts the date in. So that works for anywhere you want a date. Then here's an example of a pipeline, what columns might be in it. Then here's what I need. So you can change any of this stuff in here. But to make it easy, I put in what's called, again, the placeholder text. So you just go to the placeholder text and type in your information for what you want here. So for each stage, what do you want the name of the stage to be? And how did somebody get there? Filled out the Whoozy Butts form. And then you hit tab, it takes you to the next line. Set appointment, created appointment in that calendar with that person. And then if you hit tab, just like in Excel or Google Sheets or something like that, it creates a new line and a new row. You can go ahead and enter that information and make as many stages as you want. Keep in mind, your stages, you're just going to have to keep scrolling further and further and further to the right to see them all. You can also look at your pipeline in a list view. And so if your pipeline is too wide and you don't want to scroll all the way over there, then you can look at your pipeline in a list form. Anyway, so automations and actions for each trigger, meaning each thing that happens, whether the user does it because they filled out a form, or you're talking to somebody and you add a new tag to their contact record. What is that change? What do you want to have the system do based on that change? So the trigger, what changed? Added that tag about the stuff. Auto text. All right. Actions. Do these things because reasons. And again, you can have multiple triggers. Hit the tab and it opens up a new line. And then when you hit publish, then you hit publish. And now you'll see it shows up in here, OBD requests. So that page now has these children, which are these testing ones. Then when we look at OBD requests, now I panicked the first time I looked at this. It does take the server a few minutes to update it to show what changed here. One of the things that you have on each of these is the change request. And so that is when you see draft to OBD, then that's when this line changes to HLN, you put in a new date. When you create this form, the change request form, that tells me what the changes are. And then on this page, yeah, I like these previews, but they do kind of get in the way sometimes. So we have one list for all of the requests and then one list for all of the change requests. And we'll see the columns again, different columns that apply to the change request, so that then it's tracked through here. This is